Hello. So it is Thursday, April 9th. Hopefully, you're watching this. And it is the last day of our session because tomorrow is Good Friday. The topic today is on cancer, and the color is green. So you'll be following along in this little green box. And it is not super extensive notes, it's mainly just defining some vocabulary because you're going to be reading articles today on your own and answering some questions about them. Okay, so the reason that we're learning about cancer, first of all, is because it is related to cell division. It is what happens when there is too much cell growth, too much cell division, and it is uncontrolled, and the result of mutations. And also because cancer is not an uncommon disease. If you haven't already encountered it in people who you know, you probably will. And it's super important to be able to understand what is going on at the cellular level so that you can talk to the doctors and the nurses and the people who are helping you or the people who you love who are having cancer or getting treated for cancer. So I'm going to start with a video, and this is going to explain a little background and give us some information that'll help us with the vocabulary in the articles.
Today, cancer causes 1 in every 7 deaths worldwide. But how does cancer start, and what is being done to combat it? Our bodies contain trillions of highly specialized cells, and each carries genes responsible for regulating cell growth and division. But when a genetic change disrupts this process, cells begin to grow and divide uncontrollably, thereby becoming cancer. The genetic changes that cause cancer usually happen in 3 types of genes: proto-oncogenes, which signal a cell to grow and divide; tumor suppressor genes, which signal a cell to stop dividing; and DNA repair genes, which preserve and maintain genetic codes. Changes in these genes lead to abnormal cell growth, resulting in masses of tissues called tumors. Tumors may be benign, meaning that they remain in one area, or malignant, which means that they are capable of spreading. Through a process called metastasis, a malignant tumor's cells will eventually break off, travel throughout the body, and begin forming tumors in other regions. When this happens, the cancer has become metastatic and is most dangerous. The cause of cancer is still a mystery. Inherited traits may be behind some of the genetic changes that lead to the formation of cancerous cells, and so might environmental exposures, such as excessive radiation from the sun or chemicals in cigarette smoke. In the United States today, roughly 1/3 of all people will eventually develop cancer. Of the over 100 different types of cancer, breast cancer is currently the most prevalent type, and lung cancer causes the most deaths. But our ability to fight cancer is improving. Since just the 1990s, cancer mortality rates have dropped more than 26% in the US, and more than 2 million lives have been saved. As treatments and methods of early detection improve, and doctors, scientists, and the public better understand cancer, hope remains in the fight against the disease.
Okay, so as we saw, cancer is a family of diseases, so it's not just one disease. It is a family of diseases characterized by uncontrolled cell division. It can occur in any part of the body, although some are more common than others. And if it metastasizes, then it spreads to all parts of the body. Okay, so how does cancer start? As it said, normally when a cell is damaged, it'll undergo apoptosis, which is when the cell destroys itself. So it's basically programmed cell death. See, here's some healthy tissue. One cell gets damaged, gets some mutations, and the cell is going to basically destroy itself for the good of the rest of the cells and the rest of the body. But sometimes that doesn't happen. where the damaged cell does not destroy itself or undergo apoptosis, and it multiplies, okay? It does mitosis, and the damaged genes are then passed on in the newly divided cells, so those are also damaged, and it keeps growing, and then this forms a disorganized clump of cells called a tumor. And so cancer is uncontrolled cell growth. You can see how it just starts with one cell. Normally, here it goes. But in the case that cells get damaged, it keeps dividing, and it does not stop. So 2 words, benign versus malignant. Benign tumors are when the cancer cells are clustered together and are relatively harmless. So see here, these are cancer cells that are red, but they are in one spot and they're not traveling. A malignant tumor is when the cancer cells break away and they spread, and that's when it's serious, because if there's a benign tumor, then oftentimes you can remove it with surgery or treat it with radiation because it's in one spot. But once these cancer cells have spread throughout the body, it is hard to find them and to kill just them and not other healthy cells. So how does cancer spread in the body? What it's called when a tumor goes from benign here to malignant here, it's called metastasis. And basically, the cancer cells will enter the bloodstream. Remember, the bloodstream is kind of like a highway of the body. So if the cancer cells enter the bloodstream, they can go anywhere. They can reach anywhere in the body. Carcinogen, this is an important word, and it basically is substances known to produce or promote the development of cancer. So it's things that cause cancer, although it's not definitely like, oh, if you're exposed to this one chemical, you will get cancer, but it's things that increase risk. So tobacco smoke, air pollutants. Here are some ways when things are inhaled or ingested, they go from the environment into your body. If things are contacting your skin, that's another way. You can see extraction and transport, refining and manufacture, consumer use, and waste management. Those are the big categories of environmental things that get into our body and can be risk factors. Okay, so now what you're going to do is read some articles. So this is an activity that if we were in class, it's stations, but because of the situation, you are working independently, and you're going to choose 3 topics to read about. Okay, so you're going to choose one of the causes or risk factors. So you can either read about smoking, carcinogenic chemicals, or diet and nutrition. And those 3 topics are in red. So there's smoking, carcinogens, diet, and nutrition. And each of those has suggested sites to read and then some questions. Okay? I'm going to go over to this document where you're doing your work. So you'll choose one cause or risk factor. Let's say that I want to read about smoking. So I'm going to write smoking so that my teacher knows the topic when she's reading my answers. And then click on these sites. I shared with you the slides so that you'll have these. Read it, take notes if you like, and then you're going to answer these questions. Okay, after you read about a cause or a risk factor, you're going to read about a genetic mutation. So you can either read about DNA repair genes, tumor suppressor genes, or oncogenes. And those are the ones in yellow. And here they're over here, genetic. So then you'll write genetic mutations. Let's say I wanted to read about tumor suppressor genes. So I'd write tumor suppressor genes. And then read this article, and then answer these questions. And where are you writing the answer to those questions? Here on the virtual notebook. Okay, and then the last one is treatment. So the 3 topics are surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy, and those are in green. So let's say I want to learn about surgery. I will write surgery here in that box, and then I will read this topic or this article, and then I will answer these questions. Those articles are a good place to start. If you want to read more, totally do your own research. That would be great. Also, if you want to become extra knowledgeable about these topics, don't limit yourself. You can do all 6 or all 9 of these, and that would be great. And put any questions you have here. We can have conversations because there's so many interesting topics that come up when we're talking about cancer. This already happened when some of you chose the cancer video to watch at the beginning of this session, the beginning of last week's session. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Congratulations on finishing session 2.